Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking on the final Dare to Defy stage. Because we got my boy Edgar, we take care of this no problem. So I am bringing Sarah again. She just worked really nice with Edgar, nice support character, good FR. And then I thought instead of Core, because I'd already used Core somewhere else, let's bring my boy Mog in. My boy Mog gets very awkwardly paralyzed to start. Sarah hits a paralyze, or not a paralyze, but a petrify, I should say. But I thought Mog might be a nice little tryout in this fight here because water is one of the elements that is not resisted, so Mog is fine there. I figure, double follow-ups, confusing. Like, Mog could maybe wreak some havoc on these guys, kind of shut them down a little bit. So I thought, let's go ahead and give my boy Mog a shout here. But yeah, I mean, this fight really isn't much different than my Spiritus fight. It's just that instead of Core, you notice with Core we do a lot more damage. That first fight, we got it done in like one force. I do think I have to do multiple force times in this video. But I mean, we've got 3 Echo characters. We've got everything we need. I mean, Edgar is really what you need here, right? It just makes the fight so easy. I talked about it in the first video, so I don't know how much in detail I need to go with the bosses. But from what I could tell, these bosses were pretty much the same as the Spiritus fight. They maybe toned down the HP or something a little bit, but I haven't looked too specifically at it. To me, it felt like basically the same fight. I don't know that it's really that toned down, but maybe they did in certain places. But yeah, it's just the fight really caters to dealing defense ignoring attacks and them having weapon weaknesses on. That's really what they want you to have. Defense ignore. But, after doing this with Mog, I'm like, you know what? I wish I would have done a different character instead of Sarah. I could have very easily, I think, done a full Final Fantasy VI squad here, which would have been really cool. We could have done like Edgar, Mog, and Terra or something. I think that could have been a pretty fun run. Terra definitely doesn't like support or debuff like Sarah does, but I still think we could have gotten through just fine with that team. Terra could have just done like a quick double echo to really buff our gauge. Things like that. But yeah, we get through just fine. It was fun breaking out Mog. I'm like, you know what? I did the pain of summoning for Mog way more resources than I ever should have had any business putting in on that guy. So I'm like, oh, well, let's at least break him out and use him in this Dare to Defy because I'm not using him very much and I need to use these characters that I invest in. So I figured, yep, water damage is good. Let's bring my boy Mog in. And he has a nice little piece here, right? His damage is solid. Once again, the Confuse is kind of nice. The only bad part about the Confuse is it doesn't like interrupt their interrupt attacks, which I kind of wish it did. Like, I don't think it stops them from doing the petrify. Obviously won't stop like a force attack and stuff like that, right? But it is nice just for like negating out turns. It is a fairly defensive ability that way. Alright, so we got Sarah's BT effect up, and we got Mog's BT effect up. So now Mog, he's going to start doing double follow-ups, which is nice. We'll definitely take the damage from the double follow-ups. Yes, bring in the Moogle army, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, you guys have to let me know what you did on this Dare to Defy run, but I talked about it earlier. I do think, if you're desperate, I think an LD only Edgar might suffice here. The big thing, though, is you have to have a way to deal with their force time. You got to be able to cancel it, and you need a defense-ignoring force attack. So I haven't done the research yet to look, but you could just look in your box if you guys haven't done it before. When you go into your box and you're looking through your party, you can sort by traits. And I believe Defense Ignore is a trait, and you could just see who's all in there, and then see if any of them are force characters. I talked about this in my other video. The bare minimum, if you have Lock BT, you could bring in Lock BT, because his BT effect does give the entire party Defense Ignore. You would just have to time it kind of specifically where like his BT effect is up, and then you have another force character that's going to then do a defense ignoring attack because of his BT effect, right? Now you can see here, they're in force and they are very hard to damage. You see our max Brave is at 0. So our first attack we can get some damage through because they have Brave built up from earlier. But after that, you can see we really can't gain Brave. Like, you see Mog is maxed out at 0. Sarah's maxed out at 0 Brave. So, like, yeah, that's... You see we're just dealing a bunch of nothing here. At least Mog, though, can still have the Confuse chance. So we did get the Confuse. We're getting some off here and there. But yeah, we, like, have to cancel this thing out, like, ASAP. So I'm like, yeah, let's just Brave attack. There's no point in doing an actual attack. Lightning came in and did some damage, so that was nice. But look at that HP regen. That was 2 mil. So we didn't really get to see the negative part of this in my other video because I just operated it so well and canceled their force immediately. But now, yeah, I was like, we got to cancel this thing like ASAP. So we're at 99.6. So I'm like, well, let's just do an AA. Get us to 100 because we cannot stall out. We got to get that force going. So there we go. Edgar's up. Now we're going to cancel him out, and then we should be back to being able to get Brave and stuff again, which is nice. Yes, and luckily the force attack is allowed to gain Brave and stuff there, so that's good. And then bam, get canceled out. There we go, nice. So now we're good to go. That it is a nasty force. You got to make sure you can deal with that. So now we're back to dealing normal damage, and now it's just a matter of how much damage can we get out of this force time. I decide, you know what, I'm going to echo maybe a little bit later. Let's just do some regular attacks here, see what kind of damage we can get in. Because I do have damaging echoes here, so I'm thinking let's just wait a little bit on them. See what we can get here, and then the double plasmas, love that. The one thing I think I could have done better in this version of the fight that I did better in the first version was I think I neglected to use my Rydia call here. And I end up getting like interrupted with the Petrify a lot. And that's what really slows down this first force. I'm pretty sure at the end when I'm at like 4 turns of force, I end up losing like 2 force turns due to Petrify. So that was like totally my mistake. I should have put Rydia call on earlier before going into this. So I think Rydia call is definitely a good thing to bring to this fight if you don't have Rydia in your main party. I think Rydia definitely could be good in the main party here for sure. But yeah, just to deal with those Petrify thresholds, like, it's really nice to have that on. Because it does mess up my force, unfortunately. So yeah, this definitely could have been a cleaner run, but I'm like, hey, still got it done on my first try. It wasn't that bad. It just shows you that, like, you know, as much as people complain about the fight, it is a very hard fight. But if you have Edgar, he kind of trivializes it. He makes it so easy, which it's kind of like an unbalanced boss design, right? And I've said this before. My least favorite type of bosses are ones that completely cater to one character, like almost too much. My big example of this was like Reigns with the Spiritus Tree. If you did not have Reigns, and I suffered through doing that thing without Reigns, it was hellish. It was a nightmare. I had to wait for Enna Crow to drop and do it with Enna Crow. It was the only way I could get through it. I think this Edgar has a very similar feel to it. I'm not complaining as much because I haven't experienced the pain, and I don't know that I even want to. Like, if I have Edgar, I don't even know that I want to go in here and try to do it without him, because I feel like this fight would be kind of a nightmare without it, because there's just, like, so many things that you need to have. Now, yes, you have calls, you have other party members that can do pieces of it, but it's just nice to have it all on Edgar in one character, and then your party can just be, like, really busted characters for the other two, and you're good to go, right? So I did say this in my last video, but yeah, if you guys have done non-Edgar runs, I would love to see what you guys did. Let me know in the comments what kind of runs you're putting through here. Kind of curious to see what kind of creative runs people are doing to try to get through this without Edgar. I'm someone that's path of least resistance, so if I got the means to do it easier, I'm going to make it easy for myself. By the way, Mog putting out with the confusion here. They got the 2-turn confuse rolling, so they're going to be out for a while. They do have their auras up, so we got to make sure we're doing the defense ignore. Alright, so here, the one thing I do good in this video, we do drop it like it's hot. we're getting the big trap off. So we're going to be dropping it off here in a minute, and we're going to see some big damage from this trap. Move and you're done for. So let's see how much damage we can do this big trap. This is at 742, by the way. This trap's going to be hitting pretty heavy. Look at that trap, dude. 20 mil. We did 20 mil with a trap. So once again, the good part of the trap is it hits ridiculously hard. The bad part is it's just once and then it's gone. You don't, it's not like a continuous trap that keeps going. But man, you time it right during a force, you can put up some big damage, dude. 20 mil on a freaking trap. That's a lot of damage. But yeah, the bad part here is we're going to hit them into their 60% threshold. And they're going to pop off a Petrify. Had they not popped off the Petrify, or had I dodged it, I think we could have gotten this done a lot easier for sure. But yeah, we hit that right there. And then it's like, oh no, we get... And then I think they hit Mog too. I think we get double hit. It's not good. So I'm like, well, I decide to echo here. 845 seems like a pretty good number. Pretty good time to drop it. But yeah, losing the turns on the Petrify really hurts. Good damage here, though. And the Petrify doesn't, like, come up as an actual debuff, so I don't even know that you could cleanse it if you, say, had, like, Balthier or something on your team. I don't even know that would work. But yeah, and then Mog gets hit, too, and it's like, oh, no, we're just, like, wasting. And Mog and Sarah are back-to-back, so we're wasting 2 force turns. Very unfortunate. Because, yeah, we're going to eat a turn there, and that takes away a force turn. So terrible. And then I was hoping that maybe Edgar would come up and I could just spam a couple turns before Mog, you know, well, Mog's still there. But there, popping off the second trap at 25 million damage. Dude, that's a lot for a trap. But you have to imagine here, yeah, with how much damage we end up doing to them, having 2 more turns at like 900%, we probably could have melted these guys away. So we popped the Shiva Summon here. That's the other thing, too. I think that's the other way you can deal with the Petrify. I think if you're in a summon or a burst phase, they won't interrupt with it until you come out of it. So you could time it right so that it would happen, you know, when you're in your force, you're in the summon first. That's another thing I could have done. But sure, we Bio Blaster for a 12 mil AoE. Pretty decent damage here. And then Sarah's going to pop off. Yeah, we got another Echo, so it's like, yeah, well, let's do the Echo. And then that's going to give us another turn with Mog, at least. But now I think we're completely out of Echo. Now, Edgar could have echoed also, but because our turn count was so low, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to risk the enemies getting into another force and me not being able to deal with it. Yeah, see, they're at 21%. So, once again, the Petrify is what made the difference here. Had we avoided the Petrify, we for sure would have had this done in one. Because now it's like, alright, Moogle March. And this is going to take him down to nearly dead. Yeah, and so this actually, I think, was maybe even... might have even been better than my first run, my Spiritus run, because those traps did so much damage. And the big thing is we actually did it in 2 less turns. And we almost, yeah, 19%, and we missed 2 force turns. So yeah, we for sure would have had these guys done in 1 force had I not taken the Petrifies there. So anyways, you guys learned from my mistakes. Make sure you got Iridia up for that Petrify, or that you go into a burst phase or something when they hit those thresholds so it doesn't mess up your force time. So once again, I do believe they do it once at the start, which you really can't do anything about that. But then they're going to do it, I believe it's at 60 and 30 were the 2 hits. So, but I'm like, all right, well, let's just go ahead, reapply LD, make sure we don't have any of that falling off. We got to get rid of their auras. It actually turned out nice that we're in a burst phase here, or not, a summon phase, I should say, while they put up their red auras. Because it gives me time with Edgar to kind of just push their auras all the way off. Just kind of get it going, get it done. And once again, they can't die if they have auras up, so you got to make sure the auras are gone. So the nice thing is having this to be able to like burn the auras down, because once they start taking turns, they're going to keep leveling them up, and you're going to be in this constant battle. But if you get them off, then they stay off. All right, so there's another Petrify. Yep, so that's the other threshold we hit there. So sure, we got another double Petrify here. Yeah, I brought Raijin. I never really used it. I kind of had them like so full of debuffs. I probably could have brought something better there, but that's fine. So yeah, big fat auto crossbow for a mil AoE. Like, yeah, Edgar's putting up some nice numbers. Now mine is completely maxed with an Ultima weapon. It's not a 5 out of 5 Ultima weapon, but it's still pretty good. Like, you got an Ultima weapon. And I'm finally like, alright, I guess now I'll put Riddy on when it kind of doesn't matter. I should have done that so much earlier in the fight. Because the thing with Rydia is it'll just sit there until each player dodges 3 times. So you just time it right and you're good. Alright, so we got the enemies down to white aura. But you can see there, Mog definitely doesn't have the defense ignore. We're dealing 1s. So we need the defense ignore. Which Edgar's going to be popping off next. And that should finish off the auras here. I think I Bio Blaster is what I decided to do here. I'm pretty sure. Because I got so many Bio Blasters built up. Or I could Royal Shock again, I suppose. We're pretty much at the end. Or we could Burst Phase. That's right, we still have an Edgar Burst Phase. Now, they are, I believe, full on debuff, so I don't think we're going to hit the trap this time. So that's one thing I think I do need to plan a little bit better with Edgar. It's tough because I want to have the debuffs to make sure I'm getting the full force effect. But at the same time, you got to kind of balance the debuff so that you can put his trap on. So it's kind of tricky, a little wonky to try to balance it, I feel like, sometimes. Now, what I could have done before going into Edgar Burst Phase was, like, let the right enemy take a turn, because they just had, like, that 1-turn freeze on. That would have fallen off, and then I would have been free to drop the trap down, but it's like, nah, let's just do it, because what I saw was that the enemies were, like, getting really close to a force, so I'm like, we need the Burst Phase so I can catch up and match their force gauge, because once again, the moment they hit theirs, I need to cancel it. And we're in a position right now where I'm definitely not going to kill them before they get to their force. So I'm glad I didn't Echo with Edgar before. Had I not been petrified, I think it would have been fine, though, because then we would have just killed them outright. But being that we got slowed up a bit, it's good we saved it, because we definitely need to cancel here. The other thing I could have done was just gone into Edgar Burst after they went into Force, because I do the Force attack here that we would get in the Burst phase. That would also cancel it. But it's fine. We know we got another Force ready to go. We'll flip a coin, beat them up. Drop the air anchor down. I like how he says move when you're done for, even though he didn't get the trap down. Once again, just debuff overload here. Alright, so yeah, now the Iridia coming into play. We got the miss there. And we're close enough where I'm pretty sure by Edgar's next turn we should have his Force ready to go, which is perfect. Because we timed it so that they're not going to be able to get heals. Because that's what we want. We don't want them getting those fat heals off. That's really bad. You can see, though, not dealing a lot of Brave damage. Those auras make it tough. Lightning comes through with some damage, though. Alright, so here's the Force. We just got to make sure we survive this. And we're good. Plenty of health. Dude, our health is kind of, yeah, our health is pretty good. We're all like over 20k. Edgar's actually got a lot of health at 27, but I think that's because he's featured here. He's got a big stats boost here. Alright, and then Mog, I'm like, alright, we just got to like stall out a little bit here. But I think Mog just doing an attack should put us there, so I think we're fine. I'm like not really sure what I want to do, so I'm like, sure, let's just do that, because we're doing like nothing to these guys. You know, because they're in Force. We have the thing where our max Brave is now 0. But there we go. We got the Force cancellation. This, I mean, that's so important. I think the Force cancellation, honestly, is like the biggest thing you have to do in this fight. Because if you let them sit around with a 20-turn Force and they're healing 2 mil every turn, like, you're never going to win this fight. Never going to win this fight. They definitely set it up to where, like, you have to cancel their Force. There's no way where you're, like, naturally letting them burn out those 20 turns and getting through the fight. There's just no way. So, yeah, you got to make sure you have a defense ignore on a Force attack for sure. And you can see the enemies are super tanky right now. We're hitting 1, so they are pushing defense ignore quite a bit in this fight. Which makes sense, because that's the thing that Edgar does. All of his plus abilities have defense ignore. So yeah, now it's like, and it's actually kind of frustrating, because now we're at the point where like their defense is so high, we're dealing like such little damage, and they've actually got us hitting zeros right now with the red aura. Like, we got to get them out of the red aura. Like, it's nasty. It's like, even though we have like a full Force here, I'm like kind of like, are we actually even going to get this done? We need a bunch of Edgar turns. Let's go. We need Edgar to take care of this, because these enemies are being really restrictive right now. So I think Royal Shock is a pretty good one here, because we're going to get another turn, so we can like definitely get the auras down. We need to get their auras off of the red for sure. Got them down to yellow. Then we got to do more attacks. We got to keep getting it down. So I'm like, alright, auto crossbow. I know we got AoE there. Let's keep burning these auras down. Alright, we got him down to blue. And we got to get him down to white, and we got to get him gone before we can actually kill him, right? Now, you can see Sarah's doing just like nothing there. And the bad part is they're going to upgrade the shield again. I think even if he's confused, it counts. Oh, maybe the confused stopped it, so he didn't upgrade the shield. So that was good, actually, the aura. Very nice. So the confused coming in clutch there. But yeah, this could have been done a lot more cleanly. Like I said, had I not gotten the Petrify, I think we would have had this done in 1 Force, no problem. Alright, so he's going to attack, and I do believe he's going to upgrade. Yeah, see, he upgraded his shield there, so... Yeah, they're both back up to yellow. So it's kind of like really annoying. They're getting enough turns where I'm like not being able to like get their shields fully downgraded. So it's kind of a battle right now. We're just trying to get those shields down without them getting too many turns. It's like even with Edgar, we're having kind of like a aura battle right now. Like, alright, I got him down to blue again. But then it's like, is he just going to go up to yellow? Luckily, the confused coming in there, keeping him at blue, which is good. And at this point, we've got them pretty much down to dead. We just have to get the auras off. So this is a fight, even at the end, it's very pesky, because this late in the fight, they are just shutting down Mog and Sarah completely. Like, they're doing nothing. So this is one where maybe if I had a call with defense ignore, like a Cyan call or something, maybe that would be useful here, just to pop some calls. So I think calls are very important for this fight. Even if you have Edgar, like as you saw earlier, like having Riddy I think is really nice. Maybe putting a defense ignore, and there you go. Got him down to white aura. We could finally kill him. And then bam, they're done. So anyways, guys, there you go. my final Dare to Defy. I've got all 7 stages done. I've got the new badge, but I'm probably not going to use it because I got to keep my Final Fantasy VI badge on. So anyways, guys, let me know what you all think of this fight, how you did. If you got them all done, thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.